Now, this was a massive performance, and I guess I could speak for everybody when I say thank you for all of that, what you put into it, your heart, and what it inspires in this moment.
Thank you very much for saying that. Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. But, I mean, we're not alone, are we? The way that the world has embraced this film and your performance and this character. I mean, obviously, the world was ready for a little bit of movie musical magic. And some of yours too. Let's start at the end. Oh my God, the end, which is actually the middle. And I can't believe we're going to wait a year until we can catch up with this again. It's killing me. I was so excited. Finally, an intermission where you can actually go to the bathroom and get a Coke, but now you can have a birthday too. But no. So that is iconic. That is for all time. The imagery in that is remarkable. And I can only imagine that you've got some rope burn in there that's for all time too.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Thank you for saying that, because yes, much rope burn, much chafing, and it sounds like it's a cute thing, but it's not.
Right.
You know, but it was really interesting to get myself ready for that, because we are singing live and I'm doing my own stunts. I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. So,
it's important.
Yeah. So like it was because I wanted to feel like I could fly. I wanted to feel what it felt like to fly, and I knew I needed sisters. Sisters, I get it, baby girls. I get it. I understand it. You gotta do what you gotta do. Who did what? What do I need to do? Who's gonna come and sit with me right now? Who's singing with me right now? You wanna come sit? You want to come sit with me? Come sit with me, baby girl.
All right, here we go.
Come on.
Problem solved.
You kind of an actress? I am kind of an actress too. You want to sit up here? Come join.
Yeah. There we go.
What can you tell me with that? Will you sit with me for this? Okay.
Price.
Price. This is everybody.
Very cute name.
Everybody, this is Price. Price is joining me right now.
Very good.
And she's going to sit and do this Q&A with us. Is that all right? Can you do that with me? Thank you, Price.
What do you think of what did you think of the film? What did you think of musicals? Do you like musicals? Did you like when she flew around?
Yeah.
It was kind of magical, wasn't it? Do you know how she did it?
How?
Oh no, ask her.
You ask me.
Ask her, how'd she do it?
How did she do it?
Okay. So I trained really, really hard, right? There's a lady called Jo McLaren who is my stunt coordinator. Do you know what a stunt coordinator is?
What?
A stunt coordinator.
I don't know what that is.
Thank you for saying that. See, sometimes we have to actually say we don't know. Well done. A stunt coordinator is a person who helps us get all the stunts ready. She helps me with the choreography of the stunts.
And I also don't know what, is a stunt.
So you know what? Thank you very much for asking that. This, Price, can I bring you with me everywhere?
Yeah.
Because this is great.
Here.
So you see when I was flying?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I can't actually fly. So what that means is I have to learn how to be in a harness, which is a contraption that they put on you. It's like a thing that they put on you. That means that I can be safe when I'm on wires in the air. There are wires that are attached to big giant machines that help me fly around. That's a stunt. That is a stunt. Yeah. So I was doing those stunts, but I had to sing at the same time.
Why?
Why did I have to sing at the same time? So all that music you were hearing, that's me singing. Okay. So when we're learning all these stunts, I have to first get myself ready with Jo McLaren to get my body ready to be used to what that movement would be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you need your core to be ready. So I'm up at 2 a.m. in the morning, mostly working out, so I could be ready to be in those wires and that harness. The costume has a corset on it. So it means that, do you know what a corset is? So you're too young. You don't need a corset right now. You'll be fine. But the costume has a corset in it, which means that my diaphragm, which is what you're supposed to use to make the loud sound, the larger sounds in the voice happen, is constricted. And I'm in the air. and I have a harness.
They can't get air.
You can't
the
get air.
stops
The
right
air
here
stops right here.
with whatever you could get in there for lunch.
So exactly, and
That's
even
it.
that's hard too. So I had a wonderful vocal coach named Antea Bachet, who would help me find out other places where I could place the breath. So we know that our breath is here in the lungs, but that's like what we call a snatch breath. So you can only get so much when you do that. When you're singing, you need way more breath than that. Our lung capacity is much bigger than what we allow. Our lungs extend to our back and our sides. So I had to learn to use, and I've been doing that, but I had to really now use my back and my sides to fill with oxygen so I could sing in the air. There's no ground when you're in the air. You need the ground to make those sounds. Often you use the tension and the literally gravity to make sound. Or when you don't have it, you have to create it, which means you have to put the tension in your body in the right places to make sure you can create the ground to sing in the air.
And what about the restrictions from the harness?
The harness.
Because the harness will poke you in places where
Yes.
you didn't expect it was going to.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's trying to sustain that note. I
Yeah.
can't imagine, because it's going to poke you in the side and get rid of those oxygen stores that you so cleverly stuck down in there.
You find, this is going to sound very strange, but you find oxygen stores like in your thighs and in the upper back for yourselves, in your sides, in your arms. Your muscles, your body is a store of oxygen and water. So you have to find the oxygen when you find it. And that's what you use to make the sound. Yeah.
So, okay, now I have to ask you this.
Yeah.
Was it loosely choreographed? Were you free to kind of make choices in the moment as you were moving around in the corset? Or did they surprise you sometimes?
It was choreographed to a point, but then the rest is sort of left to me, where the once it stops, it's up to me. How I get around and how I come towards you, that's up to me. But I know that I'm going from point A to B, and I knew we would do the loop, but I didn't know how I would come out of the loop. So I discover that sort of as we practice. How do you want to come out of the loop? How do you want to land? How do you want to fly? What's your stance when you're flying? All of those things kind of up to me. Yeah.
Technically, it's remarkable. And then you're able to emote while you're still doing all of these things physically. It's extraordinary.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, now for anybody who's never worn prosthetics, they have a mind of their own. They really do. They become their own thing, and they're very opinionated, and they don't keep their promises at all. They're inconsistent, mercurial, bipolar.
Yes.
And you get up there, and it's probably hot.
Yes.
I'm imagining in 65 layers of different corseted tight things that are poking you and chafing you.
Yes.
Sounds so fun. That you also have this very complicated makeup.
Yeah.
So what surprised you about that? That you didn't know was going to happen?
What surprised me, the makeup was comfortable. I do have prosthetics on because, as you can see, I have very many piercings. So the ears there are prosthetics. So they put a prosthetic over my ears to cover up the piercings. What's very interesting is when your ears are itching and your ears are prosthetic, you can't get to the itch.
Tell them what happens to the glue when it gets warm.
Oh, it starts to bubble, which is also really interesting. So that someone has to keep pressing at your ears. And when you're trying to concentrate in a scene and something, and you can't get to something, you have to figure it out. It just is what it is. But that makeup was, I loved doing the makeup because it was part of the process of transforming. It took 2 hours and 45 minutes to 4 hours, depending on how much green we would have every day before we started a 12-hour day. Yeah. And then an hour and a half to take off at the end of the day.
Yeah. And then you got to drive home.
Yes.
And then you got to prepare for tomorrow.
Correct. And then I would wake up early and work out.
Oh.
But all of it sort of was completely necessary. For me, it was necessary. For me, I needed to see the transformation. I needed to walk out of the trailer, a green lady, before rehearsal, so that anyone who saw... There were people on that set who did not see me as me. They only saw the green lady. They only saw Elphaba.
Met you at the rap party?
They met me at the rap party and were like, wait,
people walked past you?
How did your skin turn green?
Oh,
very good price. You are amazing. Do you know that? You are asking questions that other people have never asked before.
That's good.
How did my skin turn green? I have an amazing makeup team. There's a lady called Alice Jones and another lady called Sim Camps and another lady called Olivia and Sinead. I have contact lenses in, so my eyes were green. So I'd have my contact lenses in.
What about your lips?
My lips were green because of the makeup artist, but I would do my lips most of the time.
But what if they put the makeup all over your lips by accident? They put the lip like in your mouth.
In my mouth. It would never go in my mouth because I would close my mouth firmly to make sure nothing went in my mouth. But any accidents, if it went in the wrong place, like the makeup,
If it goes like both places,
well, then you have to start all over again.
go in your mouth.
Yeah, you'd have to start again from the top. They created a green for me. It's called Cynthia's Green because the original green that they had was the wrong tone. They had it was like, so you have like greens and light greens and dark greens, and there are different underlayers in those greens. So you could have like green with a bit of pink in it, or green with a little white in it. But on my skin, it wouldn't match my actual skin tone underneath. So they found a luminous yellow to mix with the green that worked with my actual skin tone, so that when you see it, it's like my skin is coming through underneath and it looks like skin. That's what they created.
They did. That was a triumph.
So it's airbrushing every day. And we had freckles. So in order to keep the freckles in the right place, we created the vacuum mask and put the freckles in so that every day we would spray those freckles on and it would go in the right place. We would do the contouring, and my hair stylist made this wig with baby hairs on the front. So you see that little baby hair there. My favorite thing about going green is that this is actually why I ended up having no hair. It was easier to, one, have the wig stay where it needed to stay, and two, make sure that my scalp was green if you moved my hair, if you airbrushed my head. So I already had short hair, and I just thought, well, shave it off. So I shaved my hair for it so that they could airbrush my hair.
Suits you.
Yes, baby girl.
It does. It suits you.
Thank you.
Okay, can I ask a question really
Yes.
quickly, Price?
Price, can you ask a question?
I'm just
We'll
going to
come back.
ask about, because you remember how she was talking about how she did her own stunts and how she was in the harness and she was actually flying, which means, she was off the ground singing. She couldn't put her feet on the ground. She had to sing with all of that, just floating. And also singing live.
Yes.
And I guess a lot of people would think of that as a risky thing to do under those circumstances.
Yes.
But I'm guessing that you preferred it.
Yes.
I would guess that you would hope for that.
Yes, very much so.
Okay, so as a creative person who is finding a way to emote in those moments, what does that opportunity enable you to do?
The wonderful thing about singing live is that you get to be in the moment. You process all the things that are happening right then and there. And that, yes, Price,
You wear the wig
I did.
because you didn't have hair.
That's right.
Yeah.
A black wig.
That's right. With braids.
Yeah, with braids.
Yeah.
It was pretty, huh?
May I answer this question really quickly and I'll come back to you? Thank you very much. Yes, I sang live mainly because you could be in the moment and you could process what was going on there and then. So best way to give you an example, let's talk about two different places. The Wizard and I, at the very beginning, it's the first time you sort of see the hope in her and the dream that she has. But if it was already recorded, I couldn't take time. John would give us the breath and the time before we began. The bit before you sing is always really important because that's when the thought drops in. It meant that we had time for the thought to drop in. So instead of going, did that really just happen? It becomes, did that really just happen? Have I actually understood? Right?
And you're
there's
feeling, not thinking.
feeling, not
You're not
thinking, that's
waiting on
right.
a cue.
Yeah,
You're feeling.
right. And when we're in the forest and we do, the beginning of I'm Not That Girl, I love the beginning because usually if you want perfect, you have it pre-recorded so you have no breaks in the voice. But when it's live, you take all the or anything that breaks any, and the whispers happen by accident. So what happened that day is that my voice broke in the middle of the sentence. Hands touch. And that wasn't on purpose. That just happened because that's what my body needed to do at that moment. And he kept it. And the same happens in the beginning of Defying Gravity, where it actually starts almost in a whisper. And what that allowed me to do is vacillate the emotion all the way through the piece. So instead of starting at the end, like we start at the end today, instead of starting at Defying Gravity, you start with The Wizard and I, which is really small. And then it builds to that one note at the end, but she has to come all the way back down. She has to earn Defying Gravity. We don't just get to the end of Defying Gravity all the way through it. She can't do that all the way through because why? Why would she? She hasn't lived the things she needs to live to get to Defying Gravity. And you need it live to do that.
And it would be really difficult to conjure that
Right.
in, say, your jeans. Not that you ever wear jeans, but in your everyday clothes.
Right.
Which for you is dressed to the nines in a cubicle ahead of time before you've experienced
That's
it,
right.
before you've lived it.
Exactly.
And I have to say, there's something, we feel it. We feel it when we see you do that. I did not expect. Thank you. Yes. Okay, thanks. Yeah. We feel it.
Thank you.
It's just, I didn't expect that for it to be such an emotional experience. I thought it was going to be beautiful and fantastical and fun and probably moving in these moments because of the story. But I did not expect to be moved to tears in those moments. And in the
Ozdust Ballroom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I had no expectation. I have to say, that moment and the way that you balanced all of these very complicated feelings, I bet it speaks to legions out there. And I think it's going to be one of those moments that's referenced in cinema going forward about courage.
Thank you.
Honestly, her defiance in that moment and of heartbreak and vulnerability from the betrayal. And she sat there holding on to the scraps of dignity that she still has access to. And she says, no, I accept myself.
Yep.
I accept myself.
Yep.
And this dance where she's blocking out all of these people who, all this judgment and all of the things that are telling her that she's not worthy. It just broke my heart in the most beautiful way. It was so inspirational. And then what a way to make a friend, that in her apology to Elphaba, Glinda mirrors her and says, I see you too and I accept you. I mean, please share with us about that moment and the choices, because you've got the Joaquin Joker dance and you've got the Wednesday Addams dance and now you got the Cynthia Elphaba dance. And please tell us about the choices that you made in crafting that and the balance in those emotions and how you tell us about your choices, please.
Okay. That's what. Thank you.
Yes,
that was awesome. Thank you for saying that. Christopher Scott, Comfort Fidoku, and Will Loftus, our choreographer and our associate choreographers, they had choreographed something for this moment. And when I went in to do the rehearsal and to learn it, I liked what they had done, but it didn't feel like Elphaba. Because I felt like we had to find what her language was, what her movement was. Paul Taswa, our costume designer, likes to say, and I believe the same, Elphaba's the edges. She's the sharp points. She's the angles in Oz. There are so many curves and circles and S shapes and smooth surfaces. She's the jagged shape in the space. And the choreography felt pretty smooth. And I was like, this doesn't feel like her. So we have to create something that feels like it's her language. So we start there. And then I ask, well, what is this dance supposed to be for? What is she doing? Is it to make fun of herself? Is it to claim the space? What is it for? And I felt like it was a moment for her to reclaim the space that had broken her heart, to be defiant and to own the loneliness, to own being on her own, to be okay with being a singular. And then I said, well, if she takes that hat off, why would she put it back on? There has to be a reason to put that hat on if this hat is part of the reason why she's been embarrassed and ashamed. And so I thought, well, what if this is the first time we see her try a spell, imbue it with power, so that that hat, that emblem, does, when she puts it back on her head, become the emblem of the Wicked Witch. It's the beginning, the very beginning. We see a spark of that. And when we choreographed it to silence, we knew we were going to do it in silence. I asked for it to be in silence because I thought, well, if there's any music, it takes away the uncomfortability of watching someone have to do something on their own. And that was uncomfortable and painful because more than anything, you have to sort of draw on those moments where you feel alone, where you felt embarrassed, where you felt ashamed, where you felt like you didn't belong, where you felt like no one wanted you in a space, and put those all into her. And what we did to create that connection between myself and Ari and Belinda and Elphaba was I learned the dance, we choreographed it together, and then I taught it to Ari. I taught it to her. So she didn't know what that dance was. And the very first time we did it, I was teaching it to her live. Her choice as well. And she would never learn it completely, so that every time we did it, there was a freshness to her trying to figure it out as we were going along. So that first moment where she tries to do a move, and it's one move to the side, it's what she remembers. And when she does it's what she remembers. And so when you watch us dance together, I am teaching her. We are mirroring and following each other in real time. Yeah.
What an unbelievable creative experience. It's just brilliant.
She sent me home at the end of the day. Yeah.
Just the honesty in that.
Yeah.
And what an opportunity. Gosh. And then a true friendship forged.
Yes.
You guys, boy, you in the trenches together completely.
Yeah.
That takes me back to something else that, I just share something with you that I saw an old acquaintance of mine in the outside, Alex, and he was sharing with me about his mom and how she was born in Chicago and in late stages of Alzheimer's, what she wanted to do was watch Chicago over and over and over again. And that it meant a lot to him. And it meant a lot to me to hear that, because you forget when you're encapsulated in this bubble where you make you do your work and it's a shared experience with the people that you come to love. You forget that we're going to become a thing. Yeah. And I share that because he also commented on the importance of this film in that regard, that the messages that you deliver through this character are going to resonate with so many people. And it's so important. I was listening to a wonderful interview today with John Baptiste, and he was talking about Beethoven and the magic of Beethoven. And he was talking about how the notes are so obvious and they're all out there. They're all there. Yeah. See, but it takes someone with an otherworldly gift to reach out, pull it down, and deliver it to people in a way that transcends and touches like a spiritual, emotional part of all of us that's hardwired within all of us. And I thought of you because I thought of you as a performer, as a singer, and especially in this role as a messenger, that when you deliver the context of these, within the narrative of Elphaba's journey, you're talking about self-acceptance and self-empowerment, and you're talking about, courage and authenticity, and all of those things being delivered from your heart, directly bypassing any sort of emotional intellectualizing, straight into the heart, is gonna, I think, touch so many people for a really long time. So thank you for this performance. Congratulations. You honestly, it's really remarkable.
Thank you very much. It was a lot.
Just beautifully done.
Thank you.
And now, having come to know Cynthia a little bit over the past few years, we ran around together on doing these sorts of conversations, having these sorts of conversations and everything in 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
And I know that you do not... that you're very judicious in what it is that you choose to do.
Yes.
You're an author. You've done so many concerts. You've had that relationship with so many audiences from the stage.
Yeah.
How has this been different for you? And what surprised you that you didn't expect from this experience?
I think the thing that surprised me the most was I knew it would be a huge undertaking, but I didn't account for how intimate some of those moments would be. That set was really full of kind, loving people who are all moving in the same direction. So the sets are created, they're real, you're on a set and their water is real, that moat around the school is real, those stairs are real, I'm running around a school. But then you get to the dorm and it's just the two of us and we can have those tiny, quiet moments, or we get to the Ozdust and those moments are really, really quiet, and John will make it just about the three of us, and everyone will be really respectful about the fact that it is just the three of us. Or if it's just me on a set and it becomes really that surprised me. It surprised me that you could create a space that felt really intimate in a thing that is a juggernaut, you know? I just didn't know that you could do that, and I was really grateful for it. The difference between stage and screen, I'm pretty daring, so on a stage I will turn my back. I want you to see my back sometimes, which apparently is a cardinal sin. I didn't know. I did it anyway because I believe that the back is emotional just as much as the front. But here, that camera can come right into your eyes and see everything. And so instead of having to, and I don't believe it's sending it up. I believe when you're on a stage, you have to push the intention further out. But here, it's okay to keep it right in the chest because the camera will catch it. And you sort of have to turn the switch off that says send it all the way out, and put the switch on that says keep it right here because everyone is with you anyway. They're within an inch of your nose. You know?
It feels like a privilege to have that direct relationship and that closeness.
Yeah.
I love that you say you turn your back because then it's a shared experience and not a performance.
Yeah.
You know, we're right there with you.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, and speaking of right there with you, I have said enough. You guys signed up to come here today, so I thought maybe we should ask these guys if they had something that they'd like to know.
Last question. One last. Go on. Yes, John.
This is really for me.
Go on.
I know how hard it was to let go of Elphaba during the strike, during that period before we shot Defying Gravity. She had to hold on to that for 6 months. Wow. Defying Gravity after we got back, after training for a year for that.
Oh, wow.
I want to know now, and we shot both movies, where is Elphaba now?
Why are you doing this?
Do you talk to her, you see her, or is she gone? Is she still, I don't know, where is she? How do you?
This is Elphaba.
Oh my goodness, I made it this far. I haven't done this in such a long time. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh gosh,
She's right here.
the truth is you don't really let characters like that go because they do change you. She is a place where I put lots of hurt, lots of pain, lots of oh, God. All of those little insecurities that I've had in my life, I put into Elphaba. So you don't really let that kind of character go because they take care of you and they give you more room because she's holding onto them, I don't have to hold onto them anymore.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And so you kind of have to. She says with it because it's like a thank you to the character for holding on to those bits of yourself that you've had for a long time that you can give away now. And Bryce was very right. She's right here. Yeah. She's running.